Good morning, welcome to Vlogmas Day 4, 2019. Today has begun as usual. I was up early, got my advent calendar opened, some beautiful things. I think I'll have already put in a photograph. I started to work on my advent socks and then it was time to get lunches made for everybody to go out, and Peter very nicely dropped everybody to their respective places. Today's agenda is quite full. I have chores to do this morning in the house that I want to get done quickly because I want some knitting time, and then I have work to go to tonight, which I'm actually looking forward to, and then yeah, that's pretty much today. Going to start though quite nicely. Peter and I are going to go out. I want a nice cup of coffee and he wants his breakfast. So we're going to go out to the local coffee shop and do that, and I might even bring my knitting and get a few rows done there. I wanted to show you today's socks as well, simply because I haven't shown them before. I don't think they ever featured on the podcast, I'm not sure. But I completed these, I think, towards the end of October because they were Halloween socks. The colourway was Bramble and they were Patton's Croy, and I just really enjoyed them for Halloween as a Halloween knit. I think I had picked up this yarn a few years ago, possibly when I was in the States. I love Patton's Croy. It's a really robust workhorse yarn that wears incredibly well. And they're simple vanilla socks, and it was an afterthought heel, but they're just really comfy, and today was the first day I actually got to wear them. So I have today's knitting finished for my habitation throw, and I was this much from the end of the row. So I'll try and show it to you even though I haven't quite finished a row. So this is today's stripe number 4, and it was yarn from Julie Asselin, beautiful purple. So this is knitting up quite nicely. I think it will end up around 40-inch square, I think, this throw by the time it's finished. But it is a really quick knit, and each day, so I'm really enjoying this. So I got that finished, but I also wanted to tell you about a really special piece of knitwear that I have. I'm going to insert a photograph here to show you part of my knitting history. As you can see, my mum was a knitter, is a knitter. She still knits, not quite as much as she used to knit, but she was a really prolific knitter. One of my, I would say some of my earliest memories are of my mum knitting and me holding hanks of yarn and her winding them off and my arms getting really tired. My mum would have knit a lot of Aran sweaters, beautiful creamy Aran sweaters for the Donegal companies, which were supposed mainly for the tourists, and my mum just sat and knit these from memory. She wasn't using a pattern and she just spent a lot of time knitting. And I have sweaters that she knit for me. I can remember a few I can actually remember her knitting a few of them. There was one in particular that was a really unusual pattern, and it took her a little while to get the hang of it, but she got there, and it was a beautiful sweater, and I think she maybe still has a few of them in her keeping. But during the summer she gave me a really special piece of knitwear, and I'm going to include a photograph here that shows this knitwear being worn. I found these photographs in the early part of August. We were down with my mum and dad, but I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that during the summer, just around the time of my last podcast, when I thought I was back podcasting again, my dad went into hospital, and we spent a good part of August at my mum's house, and unfortunately at the very end of August my daddy passed away. But we had been looking through these photographs, and I found these photographs that dated from the early 1960s through to probably the mid 1970s, where my dad was wearing a beautiful Aran sweater. Absolutely gorgeous Aran sweater. And I pointed this out to my mum, and she said, well, I can show you better than that. And she produced the sweater, and she told me that I could have it. And since my dad has passed away, since I received this has become, I think, one of my most treasured possessions. And this is the sweater that he was wearing in all of those photographs. My mum knit it for him, I would say almost 60 years ago. They weren't married, so the sweater curse didn't apply to them, but she knit this almost 60 years ago. Apparently he had seen someone wearing this sweater, and he mentioned it to my mum, and she sourced the pattern and she knit it for him. And isn't it just stunning? It's almost in perfect condition. There was a little bit at the back where the stitching had come away, and I couldn't get the right colour, but I got a little bit just to hold the stitching. A bit of the seaming had come undone on a sleeve, and I seamed that, but apart from that, it's in perfect condition. Isn't it stunning? She knit this. She said that it was all knit in pieces, but she knit across and then had to pick up the stitches and knit down. I wish I could knit like this. I don't know if any of the things I will have knit will last for over 60 years the way this has. You can see where it has been worn and loved, and she has patched it for my dad, and he obviously got a lot of wear out of it, because, as I said, the photographs date back as far as the mid 1960s, and I think the last photograph I have of him wearing it was in 1977, I think, when we were on holiday and I was 5. So this has to be my most treasured piece of knitwear. In the comments below, tell me about any special piece of knitwear that you have. Maybe it has just cozy memories of somewhere you have been, some event you've been to, or it could be attached to, the memory could be attached to a person. This is very much attached to my dad. I get quite sentimental when I think about it. I find that when I'm thinking about him, and I think about him a lot, I'll even put this on, and it's like wearing a hug. He was a hugger, and this is like wearing a hug from my dad. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'd been planning to share it when I eventually got back to podcasting, but because that hadn't happened until now, I thought now was the time to show it and let you see part of my knitting heritage.